Andy, what you got us?
So this week I have chosen Methods of Human Disposal by Gravesend. Gravesend are a metal band which I discovered while looking for a new metal band to get into, stumbling across the track South 10 on a playlist of the latest metal releases. It was 2 minutes of dirty, grimy, aggressive metal. No messing. Gravesend hail from New York and formed in 2020. Itself an impressive feat when it was very hard to form anything. Methods of Human Disposal is their first record and was released on the 19th of February 2021 on 20 Buck Spin. It's 15 tracks and 27 minutes of brutal music, with only a few tracks breaking the 2-minute mark. The band is a three-piece made up of members of other bands active in the extreme metal scene. So we have S on bass, backing vocals and synth, G on drums, and A on guitar, vocals and synth. Their music is a blend of black metal, death metal and grindcore, and their songs are all about their hometown. They say, and this is a quote, "New York City, a city of filth, the bizarre and the unsavory. It's here where the misfits, the needle chasers, the urban scrollers, the hermits, the underground tunnel dwellers that all find sanctuary in this welcoming stronghold of the weird. We draw on this as inspiration of simultaneous disgust and amazement. From this, our sound manifests." On the matter of including synths in an extreme metal project, they say, "Our sound is reminiscent of the grotesque and eerie state of events in New York City during the 70s and 80s, and our synth complements these feelings," which is a bit like saying, "We really like synths,"
Yeah.
which is totally fair enough. So,
Yeah.
we've been studying methods of human disposal for a week now. What method would you use?
I don't got an A, B, or C.
No. What's your preferred method of human disposal?
Crikey, I don't know.
That it?
What does it say in the actual track? It's something about being stuffed in a sack, innit?
Well, there's different things here. I can't remember. I really didn't investigate the lyrics too hard. Did you?
Oh, I did.
Did ya?
Did. Yeah, they're a right laugh.
Were they? What kind of things?
Well, there's all sorts going on. I mean, let's take that. Methods of human disposal. So,
Yeah.
Awakened and stuffed into a sack among the crawling termites, your hands and feet are bound by tape in a trunk, unable to escape. Driven to your death, a hole in a pit of human waste, your body will be eaten by pests. Dumped into a vat of acid, the chemical peels your skin, the bones rip through your flesh, your existence liquidated.
Yeah, see, now I'm looking at that now, and it does remind me of dropping a pan of water on my foot.
Yeah, maybe that was a precursor. Maybe that was a precursor to what's going to happen. So this album, Mosh Bosh, Get a Wash. It's. I was going to ask you, because this is more a sort of style that you're into more than me, or that you know more about than me. Is this quite unusual? 15 songs, 27 minutes for a metal album?
Well, I don't really know. I mean, I don't know extreme metal that well. I know we had Im Winterwald last season.
That went over 2 hours, didn't it?
I know. Yeah,
This ain't that.
This really ain't that. This is the equivalent of second grade in metal, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. I know that extreme metal can throw up very short songs, but I don't know. I feel like they're doing their own thing here.
Yeah,
it's quite, there's a bit of information about them out there, but it's not a whole lot. They're fairly anonymous as well, only giving the letters S, A and G as the band members' names, which thoroughly entertained me, because my daughter Suki has two friends called Annabelle and Georgie, and they call themselves the Gas Gang, and I was like, oh my god, is this them?
Oh, I'd love that.
Is that what they've been getting up to at school?
I'd love that. It's 3 9-year-olds from Hebden Bridge. So, like I said, not a style I know a huge amount, despite Sepultura being the second band that I ever saw live.
Is that true? I didn't know that.
That is true.
Who was the first band?
Well, Blur. And they were about 3 days apart. So, little Chris here takes himself off to watch Blur which was great. Absolutely great. Right down the front, bouncing around. Went to see Sepultura with my much older half brother, who was well into metal. Like, used to make me tapes of like Paradise Lost and stuff. And thought it was going to be the same. So got right down the front. Sepultura open with Roots Bloody Roots. Have it the floor 4 times before the first chorus.
Oh man.
Yeah,
What year was that?
Miserable. It was whatever year Roots came out.
Oh god, I want to look that up. Oh, I can't believe that. I want to see Blur back in '97 on the Blur tour.
We've talked about this in previous pods.
Have we?
Because I saw it on that tour as well in Manchester. It wasn't that. The Blur one was either at the end of the Part Life tour or the start of the Great Escape tour.
Yeah, those albums came out pretty sharp after one another, didn't they?
Well, they're nice companion pieces, weren't they? Great Escape and Roots. Is that what you're talking about?
Very good, very good. We've digressed a little bit. We've let 1996. It looks like we are.
Little me as a 15-year-old down in flipping slam dancing to Roots Bloody Roots.
You know, it's funny. After I went to see Blur, the next big gig I went to was the following month. I went to see Green Day on the Nimrod tour at the Astoria in London, and I was wearing my Blur t-shirt, and all of a sudden we realised we were off to see a punk band. And that I could get beat up for wearing some indie t-shirt like this. And it's like, oh, no way. So one of the only times at that age I ever went and bought an official t-shirt, I kind of just like smuggled myself into the Astoria, went straight to the merch table and bought a Green Day t-shirt and put it on over the top and was like, phew, got away with that without being beaten up by some hardcore punks. I would only later discover exactly what like hardcore and real punk was, and Green Day it was not. But Green Day is still awesome. Like, you know, not knocking it, but I didn't need to worry. No. Anyway, back to Methods of Human Disposal.
I mean, the titles are great, aren't they? The titles on this album are absolutely fantastic. Should we just run through a couple now?
Go for it. What's your fave?
I quite like Scum Breed Scum.
That's a good one. Yeah,
absolute filth. Just does what it says on the tin.
See, absolute filth is how I remember at school my RE teacher describing what some boys came home with in their bags when they went on the French day trip. Anyway,
I also like. Oh yeah, go on.
Go on. Unclaimed Remains is quite a good one.
Well, Unclaimed Remains is like, you know, like when you go home at the end of the summer term and they're like, right, we've got some Unclaimed Remains here. Who's having them?
It's called Lost Property now. Yeah. Ashen Piles of the Incinerated. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Do you know what? Honestly, I know we're sort of jesting a little bit here. I really enjoyed this album. I did really enjoy this album. I love the whole package of it, the silly titles, and I love the font. I mean, it's like the font is like your classic death metal font.
Yeah, you know, this is it. Like I determined not to come into this going like, oh, this is, you know, like a dark and like really hard listen album. It's like it's been a ton of fun.
It really has.
Like it's everything you want, and I love the fact they pack it all into 2 minutes. It's like you have these different movements. They don't do verse, chorus, you know, solo. And it's like... I'll
tell you what they do. Essentially, they go intro, blast beat, outro. This is a blast beat album, man. Oh, my goodness.
Totally. With some nice passages of double kick and stuff as well. Some really kind of, you know, just get it in there, just brrr, and then out.
Yes. How are we pronouncing track 8?
Verrazano Floater,
yes,
that's one I wanted to talk about. It's got a very cool drum intro, though.
Very, very cool. So probably I would say my favourite. I've got 2 favourites. This being one. One of my favourites, and probably because there isn't a blast beat in sight. There's some really, really nice drums. It's some dead nice sort of tom work in it. But like you say, there's a double kick part which is super cool. Dead chuggy riff all the way through this one as well. And the blast beat is one of them things for me which I am mega impressed when people can blast beat, but it doesn't half get boring quickly.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I love that when there isn't the blast beats going on, there's some mega interesting stuff going on. End of the line, there's some really almost grooving stuff on End of the Line. It's really grooving, you know.
Totally. I said that about Verrazano Floater as well. Got that groovy thing going on. really has. And my personal favourite is Subterranean Solitude,
My other favourite.
which has got everything, but it really shows off that kind of. I think that's where the more grindcore side of things comes in. So that'll
Yeah.
be kind of grindcore being a bit more, I don't know, palatable, I guess you'd say in metal terms than death or black metal. But it's really, it's got some really groovy passages, like some stuff which is a lot more accessible, like Machine Head or Slipknot can kind of pull off this groovy stuff from time to time.
Yeah.
And it sounds really good when these guys do it. And there's some nice double kick in Subterranean Solitude as well. And I thoroughly enjoyed that album, that track. It's really cool. Just checking out the lyrics now. Deep beneath the surface, hidden from humanity, live subterranean creatures, dregs sprawled out in grime, living beyond the third rail with the vermin and rats unable to function in life. They hide in subterranean anguish, useless, mentally deranged, mentally unhinged, hateful, full of loathe. They suffer alone. I get the impression that's about people commuting on the subway.
You think?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Mm.
Like I said, I've really enjoyed this. I think the thing that I like about this album is it's 27 minutes long, and I'm saying that because when we did the old Passage de Hiva, is it Hiva? You pronounce it? When we did that last year for one of our adventures, and it's like over 2 hours, and it felt like a chore. Whereas with this, it's like, you know what? 27 minutes.
Let's bang it on. Let's get it. Get it
and I would honestly say, listeners, bang it on. Dip your toe in the metal pool and see if you like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a load of fun. I really do. I don't know if there's. I can't be very critical of it because it's really fun. I would say that they've maybe overblown the idea that two of them play synth.
Yeah, when you're doing that introduction, I was thinking, well, there's the synth in the first song.
Yeah, and in Eye for an Eye as well. There's a very similar synth passage. And you're like, well,
do you know what? I like the balance. I think there's 3 instrumentals on the album. And I like the way the position. I like that. I like the way that Eye for an Eye comes in track 9, gives you a little bit of respite. You know, nice sort of instrumental song before you straight back into the filth. But it is quite a nice balance there, having that instrumental track. It mixes it up quite nicely.
What do you think of the fact that track 15, the final track, Concrete Feet, fades out?
Yeah, bit weird.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's an unusual. But I wondered again, in the same way, and I know I've had a little bit of a laugh about it, but like the fact that they've gone like, well, synth is kind of, in keeping with the 70s, 80s thing we're talking about in these songs. I wondered if that was a little homage to 70s, 80s production where, where people just couldn't write an outro.
Yeah.
It was like, bang, we'll just fade this out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. They seem to be that kind of band. They would have possibly either a quirk about it or a sense of humor about it. I can't tell if they've got a sense of humor. Some of the images they put up on Instagram are just sort of horrific. You're like, oh, okay, I don't know if... Are we friends? I can't tell.
I'd have to check that out. I feel like they got a sense of humour. They like rats, don't they? There's a lot of rat chat on this album.
They're into that, but I'm not into that right now. Not with our little, Did we even talk about that?
No, you've got a little critter, haven't you? You've got a little
I've got to deal with that. It's in the door casing of the back door or the cavity wall or something. I don't know, man.
Have a chat with Geldof, get a rat trap.
What Boomtown Rats reference was that?
That was a Boomtown Rats reference. Straight over your head.
No, I got it. I
just didn't think it was good. Fine.
Well, so move on from that.
I think the only other track that I'd mention is worth like having a listen to for doing something a little bit different is that track 10, Trinity Burning, which is kind of it's quite slow paced. It gets into this sort of slow paced intro. And again, like with a lot of them, you go, well, for me, I was like going, this is really, really cool. Don't go into a blast beat just for once, and then sure enough, you get 20 seconds of blast beat. And then it goes into a really nice sort of halftime section. And again, the one after that, is it Needle Park? The one after that? Really cool intro, and then Bosh, you bang into the blast beat. And I want to hear, I like the bits that aren't so in your face blast beat all the time, because it's got some really interesting musical ideas, and I like the swagger to them when they're doing these. So I'd like to hear a bit more of that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's all. It's always fun to see them doing something a little bit different. I thought Unclaimed Remains actually was had a few little isolated bass riffs and guitar riffs, which was quite cool. Why are you laughing? You're laughing.
Unclaimed Remains.
Are you thinking of
I'm just
the
thinking
end of school term?
I'm just thinking of science teacher holding up a blazer going, whose is this?
It's not about that.
No, no. It's completely changed that song for me.
Oh no, this one is about the archipelago of the diabolic Isle of Profane History. That's the opening line. So anyway, there you go. Let's.
Do you want to tell me what's going on the playlist?
So on the playlist, I've chosen Subterranean Solitude. Their ode to the commuter. I don't know if that's true. It's about living underground alone. But I do feel like there could be that kind of depth because they are trying to kind of. They're not. I love New York. I think it's a great city.
Yeah.
But these guys are portraying this darker side of it. I mean, Gravesend is the area of New York that they're from, and I think it isn't a gentrified area, if you know what I mean. So they are trying to, document that darker, sleazier, nastier side of the city, which every city's got. So I think there could be just a sort of take on, the commuter, the money hungry, the people going to their miserable jobs, like all crammed into this tin can, but all kind of basically alone and. That's Subterranean Solitude for you. I don't know. I might be reading way too much into it, and they might be like, "You idiot," but that's probably my favorite track on the album. Track 6, Subterranean Solitude. Cool. Would you come and see this live?
Yeah, I think I probably would come and see this live. But when I've thought about this, would I go and see it live? And do you remember that bit in the film Ace Ventura: Pet Detective when he goes to a metal gig and he just gets like sort of thrown out the back doors? He's still moshing as he gets thrown out. I just think it'd be like that. I just walk into the venue, get smashed out, and then just be moshing in corridor outside the gig.
Right. So that was Methods of Human Disposal by Gravesend, and that was pretty rocking.
Superb. It really was rocking.
Nice.